Well, hello, my name's Treesap, and I recently got done playing Digimon Story Time Stranger, and genuinely, I feel like I've done myself a massive disservice by not playing more Digimon games, because for the most part, I feel like me and a lot of other people, we've dabbled here and there with Digimon games throughout our lives, but mostly, it was kind of put on the back burner, and not just the games for Digimon, but the shows. Even though they were good, I bet a lot more people spent a lot more time and were far more excited in their childhood to watch the Pokemon shows, and even though Digimon Tamers, magnificent, heaven sent, I would say, I still remember more about Pokemon episodes in that show. I probably need to go back and rewatch it, or really rewatch all of the older Digimon stuff, including the movies. But Pokemon, man, has just not scratched that itch for me. You know, there's a time where the show, the games, the card game, and speaking of the card games, man, the Digimon card game just did not take off in the West at all. In Japan, it did. Far more popular, still running, still going. And I think I've seen videos here and there, people talking about the Digimon card game in the modern day, so it probably exists in some way, but there's so many card games now that I just don't keep up all of them. I only play here and there in these days. But I will say this, Pokemon has taken a nosedive. I played every Pokemon game. This will be the first time ever in my life that I have not played a Pokemon game when it came out. And that's because I have no interest, really disinterested. And it's not even an age thing, because I played the last Pokemon game that came out, and that was not that long ago. It is a thing of just feeling disheartened by it seemingly just getting worse and worse in terms of performance, and in terms of even having the semblance of even a basic story, or even really having that many interesting Pokemon for me to really like. I latched on to a couple of them, but I'm just like, I don't really care. But Digimon just feels in that spot, you know, battling the collecting of cool, unique creatures. And there's a lot of variety in terms of the Digimon. Some that I don't really know, because there have been other Digimon series that came out past the ones that I was infatuated with at least a little bit as a kid, but I didn't keep up enough with that. And there's so many of them. There's a variety that you can't really get from Pokemon, given that Digimon can pretty much be a large variety of things. It can be looks like a dude, or looks like a Lovecraftian abomination. And given the fact that you can get one Digimon at the beginning of the game, and it can go into this various amounts of things. They can Digivolve multiple times, from being in training to Mega Plus, depending on how you take it down this various route. You can de-evolve them into a younger form to get better stats and make yourself overall more powerful to get to that level 99 level cap. There are a variety of moves, some main moves specific to that Digimon, whatever it may be at the time, and then extra moves you can add on, even equipable items that can boost stats or null certain effects. And every main move that a Digimon has, they're like signature to itself, have animations that look cool. And I compare that, man, I'm thinking, boy, Pokemon has gone from 2D to 3D, and there's just none of that. There's nothing cool about attacking. You're just like, okay, it's going to do this basic little animation. It's going to attack, and that's what it's going to be. And I don't want to make this all about a comparison between the two, but it's hard not to in a lot of ways, because what really else do you compare it to? For a lot of people, that's going to be the main comparison they jump to if they're comparing this to something else. And I've already been seeing stuff about it. I haven't really clicked on anything, but I've heard it. I've seen things pop up of people comparing the two. And really, as a person who hasn't played the new game, and it's not going to play the new game, but has watched people play it, there's nothing in the Pokemon ZA that beats out this game. And that's really just the last I'm going to say about it. I'm just going to jump on and talking more about more stuff with this. Like I said, fighting Digimon, magnificent, and there's a good amount of difficulty. There's different difficulty levels. I didn't get to play through this game in Mega Plus, because you don't really get that till after you beat the game, and I've beaten it. 62 hours put into it. Best 62 hours I've spent. I don't even know if I said that already, because I'm just kind of letting things rain out of my head about this title. This is more of a schizo rant than a actual review, so I'm not gonna give you any synopsis, because I'm not really a fan of story synopsis most of the time, unless I'm watching something specifically for that, so I don't really feel like talking about it myself. But the story is decent. It's a decent anime storyline. You know, if you're watching whatever random show pops up during the summer or winter season of anime, you probably watch and you'd be like, yeah, that's decent. You might watch the second season when it comes out, but it's not gonna stick with you for all eternity. Passable. It feels like, it does remind me of a few things I've watched. Not really things I can name, but I get the feeling of it. You know, it's like when you watch something, you say, hey, I've seen this before. You don't know where you saw it, but you've seen it's good enough to have it. And even some of the side stuff is interesting. I did laugh and chuckle and was interested in a few things here and there, because you at least feel like they cared when they were making not just the main story but even the side content. The gameplay, well, if you played a turn-based RPG where you control multiple characters, then you kind of get an idea of what you're doing. And like I've already kind of stated in a way when I was talking about the Digimon not too long ago, the variety comes from what Digimon you decide to use, how you decide to evolve them, and what you add on to them, and the specific moves they have. Of course, the moves you can add on, they can be attacks. There are varieties of different elements, and some enemies will be immune to or weak to. And also Digimon have types: virus, vaccine, data. Some are free in terms of their categorization. It just says free. I don't know a lot about Digimon, so I can't really tell you all the massive specifics of that. And then you have some unknown ones, and certain times you're going to be best off if you use a Digimon that has either a type advantage or at least has a move advantage. You can't brute force it depending on how strong your Digimon are and what moves you're using. And there's buffs and debuffs you can use to give yourself an advantage. I really would say, like a lot of games, the boss fights are really where you're going to want to use this. You do have special moves in which your character can use these bond abilities, because there's different bonds. One, you can make bonds with your Digimon. Don't really know what it does, to be honest. It does something, and you get it from just working alongside of them. But also, your Digimon have talent. They have types of personalities, different types of personalities. I said that, geez, I gotta learn to speak a little bit better. But personality gives them different effects. They can unlock different abilities, similar to Pokemon abilities. They give them some type of boost or advantage, or something at least can be a bit of a boon to you. But the bonds in terms of your friendship with your Digimon, that's only one thing. You have bonds that deal with your Digimon being compassionate or brave or any number of things. And you have this kind of stat tree, upgrade tree, where you can add different things in: valor, amicability, wisdom, and the such, along with one tree that gives you the special abilities you can use once you just go through battle and your gauge goes up. The one I used most of the time was one that just let me do damage, because it was just an easy way, especially on bosses, because bosses have this bar where they're charging up to do a massive attack, and you have to get that down low enough before they're completely charged, or they'll do a massive attack that will likely hurt you unless you block. And sometimes it's depending on the speed of your Digimon and kind of how the turn order goes, because you also have Digimon that come in to help you for the story. So sometimes the turn order gets a little bit messed up and you're just not fast enough, and you may be able to block with some of your Digimon, but others may not have enough time, so you can get wiped. And they can do this multiple times in a battle, so you want to get that bar low enough so you stun them, so you can just have a free moment to just deal damage and freely debuff them or buff yourself. You can also go to Digi World where you can train up, and you're mostly training them because you get some stat boost, but also you can change the personality type. And the personality type can play a lot of different things, because that actually plays a part into getting certain Digimon, because you can fuse Digimon together, but usually you have to have a certain personality type. So one might need to be tolerant, and one might have to be wise or something like that. And once they get to that, you can combine them together. That's how I got one of my most powerful Digimon in the game. And this was made using the first Digimon I got, because you get to pick from 3 at the beginning. So I used this one and another one combined together, got a spectacular Digimon that just carried me through the rest of the game. And one thing I want to talk about, you're going to be doing a lot of de-evolving, because the talent is basically your level cap. So you could have a Digimon that might be even a few stages up from being a rookie or in training, but they can still have a low talent, especially if you're not using all of them, because you're going to have a lot of Digimon. Because every Digimon you fight, you have a gauge that goes up. Once it gets to 100% after you fought enough of them, you can just basically summon it or kind of like craft it in a way. But you really want to max that gauge out so you can get the best stats, the best talent. And it kind of gives you this reason to go out and fight as many Digimon as possible, because it takes active effort. And it does have something I like, which I really enjoy when an RPG has, especially when you're out in the world and you can see the enemies roaming around, where you can send out one of your Digimon to attack them, and it gives you an advantage, and you do some easy damage, which makes the fight go a lot easier and go by a lot quicker, especially when you're grinding out. So it's just a nice thing. And when you get to a high enough level, you can just instantly destroy them, which is very good, because it's just a quick way to get those Digimon you need, because you're going to want to go out and fight some Digimon a few times. Even once you make one, you kind of have to build back up that bar and build up the data again so you can make it again, so you can kind of go through that line and get some of the Digivolutions that you didn't get in the first place. At least you're like me, you kind of just want to grind it out and get as many as possible. You want to see all the Digimon, and you might even be de-evolving some of them once you get to a certain point so you can find Digimon that you didn't have before. And the combat's decent. It can be challenging, especially in the boss fights. And I did find myself using these other abilities to buff or debuff and actually defending myself in some moments, especially if I didn't beat up the boss fast enough to do a massive attack. Especially with Digimon, it's kind of like this thing, if you've played SMT games where you fight a boss and then later on as the story progresses and you go throughout the game, get more powerful, you start crafting Digimon that you fought before that were bosses, or depending how much you grind, you might be crafting Digimon that will be a boss at some point or be something you encounter in some way, shape, or form. And I kind of just love that. That's one of my things I like in SMT games, where you get to this power level where like, man, I got the bosses that I was fighting on my side now, basically not the same character, but you have them, have their power, and it's cool. And another thing to talk about, you can talk to your Digimon, and this will kind of, in some ways, give you a little bit of information about their personality from the beginning and kind of things they think. But these are only like little scenes, like little blocks of text you'll get, but you can change their personality, and kind of your interactions with them will kind of shape them. So it kind of plays up this bond you have with these Digimon. They're not just these random creatures fighting for you. They are supposed to be your friends, they're your companions, and I like that. One thing I want to talk about, I did purchase the DLC because there are a few DLC packs out for this. I'm actually going to look at it now. Purchase the season pass because I am interested in playing the DLC that comes out for that. But also, if you play SMT games, you've experienced this before, where you have these areas where you can get XP and money and all kinds of other things. And these are the outer dungeons. The outer dungeons are an interesting thing because you can come across them in the world and you'll unlock some of them later in the game. Because something cool about this game is that right before the end, they give you this time to go out and complete everything, and you get the ability to just teleport to different areas because this game happens throughout time. So you get the ability to basically, in this kind of otherworld theater area, to go travel to these other times and do all these quests. But you also unlock some outer dungeons, which are these separate places, these separate pocket dimensions basically, that have boss fights, different little mini games and stuff like that. But the ones you buy in the DLC, I think this was like $10 or something, you have the halls of XP, gold, and material. Like I said, if you've played SNK games and you've bought this DLC before, you know what this is, and it's just a place to kind of grind, which it's kind of nice. Really, XP one. Materials and the gold, didn't really use them. Materials are decent because you can craft items. There are items you have to craft to get certain Digivolution. But I used the XP one just to grind out some Digimon. And I gotta say, not really worth it. It would have been cooler if this was something that you could just come across and you earned at the end of the game or by completing the game. And I know a lot of people don't like it, really. And it's kind of a slog, to be honest with you. So I really wouldn't know if you really want to invest in that. Especially because when you craft a new Digimon, even if it's let's say a Mega Digimon, just going through battles, it can level them up very quickly. They can gain a few levels in a couple battles, especially when you're in higher level areas fighting more powerful Digimon. It'll be slow, but you can still get it through that grinding. And if you're playing an RPG, you're probably used to grinding, especially you play a lot of them. So not really worth it for most people. I bought it. It saved me a little bit of time, but I don't know. You could if you didn't mind spending $10. I never really used the Digiform either, outside of just for specific things such as I needed to get this specific personality type. The Digiform is free, of course, because from what I know, this is in a lot of Digimon games of this type. But it just wasn't something I used a lot. And when the DLC comes out for this game, I definitely want to see what it's like on Mega Plus as the highest one, and there's an achievement I want to earn. This is a game I think I could see myself doing a completionist run of it genuinely, because it's relatively easy to do and it's fun. And I want to try out Mega Plus because there were some bosses that were genuinely challenging, especially when I tackled them at a lower level, specifically lower levels for my Digimon. So Mega Plus could really give me a good challenge. So I might try that out, especially with the DLC. I already started a Mega Plus New Game Plus file, so I will try that out. But that's really all I have to say. This has been a good experience. I'd recommend this game for anybody, whether you hop on this game because you are tired of Pokemon or you're just looking for something fun to play. It doesn't really matter. Even if you have no interest in this type of game, I think this could be the game that gets you into it. Magnificent. And it's probably going to start a big Digimon kick for me of going and playing through all of them and really spending time seeing what I've been missing out on, because I imagine it's a lot of really good stuff. And that's all I gotta say. I hope you enjoyed this, me rambling and ranting or doing whatever I've really been doing. Kind of just been off the cuff with it like I do most things. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace. I'm out.